I was halfway through my pasta when she dropped it on me. Not a hint, not a slow build-up, just straight to the point, like she was discussing the weather. I need to focus on my career. This marriage is holding me back. I stopped mid-bite. The fork hung in the air for a second before I set it down. 5 years. 5 years of building a life together. And this is how she opens the conversation. Holding you back, I repeated, making sure I heard that correctly. She nodded, pushing her plate away like the food suddenly disgusted her. I've been thinking about this for months. I need space to grow professionally. Being married, it's just too much responsibility right now. Months. She'd been planning this exit for months while I was over here thinking we were fine. I leaned back in my chair, studying her face. No tears, no hesitation. She'd already made up her mind. This wasn't a discussion. It was an announcement. Okay, I said. She blinked. Okay. Yeah. Then focus. Her expression shifted from confident to confused in about 2 seconds. That's it. You're not going to fight for us. I almost laughed at that. Fight for us. Like I was the one giving up. You just told me our marriage is an obstacle to your success. What exactly am I supposed to fight for here? You've already decided. She opened her mouth, then closed it. I could see the wheels turning. This wasn't going how she expected. I thought you'd understand, she said, her voice getting defensive. This promotion I'm going for, it requires everything. Late nights, travel, networking events. I can't do that and worry about dinner plans and checking in with you. So leave, I said simply. If that's what you need, I'm not stopping you. The confusion on her face turned into something else. Irritation, maybe, like I was supposed to beg her to stay or break down crying. You're being cold about this, she said. I'm being practical. You want out. I'm giving you out. What did you expect? That I'd cry and promise to change? Change what exactly? I'm not the problem here. She stood up, grabbing her phone from the table. I'll stay at my sister's place tonight. We can figure out the details later. Take your time, I said, picking my fork back up. Wouldn't want to hold you back. She stared at me for a long moment, probably waiting for me to crack. When I didn't, she grabbed her purse and headed for the door. This is really how you want to handle this? She asked from the doorway. I looked up at her. You made the call. I'm just respecting your decision. Good luck with the career thing. The door closed behind her. Not a slam, just a quiet click. I sat there for a minute, staring at her unfinished plate. 5 years. And she walked away like it was a job she was quitting, not a marriage. The next morning, I woke up to 3 texts from her. All variations of, we need to talk about this properly and don't make any rash decisions. Rash decisions. That's rich coming from the person who just torpedoed our marriage over pasta. I didn't respond. What was there to say? She wanted freedom to chase her ambitions without the inconvenience of a husband. I gave her exactly that. A week went by. She'd taken most of her clothes, but left the bedroom furniture. Guess she figured she'd be back once I came to my senses. Her mom called on day 8. Sweet woman, always liked me. What's going on between you two? She said you're being stubborn. She said the marriage was holding her back from her career. I explained calmly. So I agreed. Not much to be stubborn about. Silence on the other end. Then, she didn't tell me that part. Probably left that detail out, yeah. Have you two thought about counseling? She's the one who left. If she wants to work on it, she knows where to find me. But I'm not chasing someone who sees me as a burden. Her mom sighed. I'll talk to her. Don't bother on my account. She's an adult. She made her choice. Another week passed. I started reorganizing the closet where her stuff used to be. Got rid of some old junk I'd been meaning to toss. Felt good, honestly. Like clearing out dead weight. My buddy called asking if I wanted to grab drinks. First time in months I'd said yes without checking with her first. Funny how you don't notice the small things until they're gone. You're taking this pretty well, he said, sliding a drink across the bar. I shrugged. What's the alternative? Fall apart because she decided I'm not worth her time. Most guys would be a mess right now. Most guys probably saw it coming. I didn't. But once she said it out loud, everything clicked. She'd been checked out for a while. He nodded slowly. So what now? Now? I keep living. She wanted to focus on her career without distractions. I'm focusing on my life without dead weight. He raised his glass. Harsh, but fair. 3 weeks in, she sent a long message about how we both need space to think, and maybe this break is good for us. Break. She was calling it a break now. I typed back one sentence. This isn't a break. You left. Own it. No response after that. Month 2. I ran into her coworker at the grocery store. Awkward small talk until she asked, How are you holding up? Fine. Why wouldn't I be? She looked uncomfortable. Just, with everything going on. You mean with my wife deciding marriage was too inconvenient for her career goals? Yeah, I'm managing. The coworker shifted her bags. She talks about you at work sometimes. Says you're not taking this seriously. I almost laughed. Taking what seriously? Her decision to leave? I took it very seriously. That's why I'm not waiting around. I could tell she wanted to say more, but I grabbed my groceries and headed out. Not my problem anymore what she told people at work. By month 3, I'd settled into a routine. Work, gym, friends, hobbies I'd abandoned years ago. Turns out, life goes on just fine when you're not constantly accommodating someone who doesn't appreciate it. She called once during this time. I let it go to voicemail. Listened to it later out of curiosity. Hey, it's me. I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing. Things have been crazy at work. Maybe we could meet up sometime and talk. Let me know. I deleted it halfway through. If she wanted to talk, she should have thought about that before deciding I was holding her back. For months in, and the texts became more frequent. How are you doing? We should talk about the utilities. Can we meet to discuss some financial stuff? All perfectly reasonable on the surface. All complete tests to see if I'd crack. I responded to the practical ones. Short answers. No emotion. Already switched the utilities to my name. Handled the joint account. Lawyer can sort the rest. The personal questions? Those got ignored. My coworker noticed the change. We were grabbing lunch when he brought it up. You seem different lately. More focused or something. I shrugged. Just got rid of some unnecessary weight. He smirked. Your wife still at her sister's place? No idea where she is, honestly. Not my concern anymore. That's cold, man. Is it? She's the one who said I was holding her back. I'm just giving her what she wanted. Truth was, those first few weeks were rough. Not gonna pretend I didn't think about it. 5 years doesn't just disappear overnight. But somewhere around week 6, something shifted. Not dramatically. I just woke up one day and realized I felt lighter. Started hitting the gym near my office during lunch breaks. Nothing crazy, just needed to do something with the extra energy. Turns out, working out is a lot easier when you're not rushing home to make dinner plans. My buddy Griffin convinced me to join his weekend basketball group. Bunch of guys from different jobs, just shooting hoops and talking trash for a couple hours every Saturday. Where have you been hiding? One of them asked after our first game. Griffin said you were married. That why we never see you. Was married, I corrected. And yeah, pretty much. What happened? She decided her career was more important than the marriage. Told me I was holding her back. The guy whistled low. Brutal. How long were you together? 5 years. And she just bounced? That's messed up. Griffin jumped in. He's handling it like a champ though. Most guys would be drowning their sorrows at some bar. I grabbed my water bottle. What's the point? She made her choice. I made mine. Which is, move forward. Simple as that. Around month 5, her dad called. I almost didn't answer, but figured I owed him the courtesy. Son, what's going on with you two? I'd always liked her dad. Straight shooter, good guy. She didn't tell you? She said you two are taking some time apart. That you're being difficult about reconciliation. Difficult. That's how she was spinning it. Here's what actually happened. She told me the marriage was holding her back from her career goals. Said she needed to focus on work without the responsibility of being married. I agreed and let her leave. That's it. Long pause. She said that, word for word, over dinner 5 months ago. And you haven't talked since? She sent some texts here and there. I respond to the practical ones about bills and paperwork. Ignore the rest. Why ignore them? Because what's there to say? She wanted out. She got out. I'm not going to sit around waiting for her to decide I'm worth her time again. He sighed heavily. Her mother thinks you two just need to communicate better. With all due respect, communication wasn't the problem. Priorities were. And she made hers pretty clear. You're not even willing to try? Try what? Convince her I'm not an obstacle to her success? That's not something I should have to convince my wife of. She either values the marriage or she doesn't. She showed me she doesn't. That's a harsh way to look at it. Maybe, but it's accurate. We talked for a few more minutes before he hung up. Nice guy, but he was looking at it from a parent's perspective, wanting to fix his daughter's mistake without her having to face the consequences. Not my job to make this easier for her. The gym became my routine. Same time, 3 days a week. Started recognizing the regulars, exchanging nods, occasional small talk. One of them, this woman named Claire who worked in accounting somewhere downtown, struck up a conversation while we were both on the treadmills. You're consistent. Same schedule every week. I glanced over. Easier to stick with it when it's routine. Smart. Most people start strong then disappear after a month. Used to be one of those people. Life changes, habits change. She smiled. Good changes, I hope. Getting there. We kept it light. She wasn't flirting. I wasn't interested in anything complicated. But it was nice. Normal conversation with someone who didn't know anything about my situation. That's when it hit me. For the first time in months, I'd gone an entire hour without thinking about her. Month 6 arrived with a text I wasn't expecting. I miss you. Can we please talk? Really talk. I stared at it for a solid minute. Part of me, the part that remembered 5 years of history, wanted to respond. Wanted to hear what she had to say. The other part, the part that remembered her calling our marriage a burden, deleted the message. Griffin noticed my mood at basketball that weekend. Everything good. She texted. Said she misses me. What did you say? Nothing. Deleted it. He nodded slowly. That's probably the right move. Probably. Look, I don't know your whole situation. But from what you've told me, she bailed when things got serious about her career. Now she's feeling it and wants to come back. Classic. Classic. Yeah. People get comfortable, take things for granted. Then they leave thinking the grass is greener. When it's not, they try to come back to what was comfortable. Made sense. Didn't make it easier, but it made sense. You think I'm being too harsh? I asked. Honestly, no. She's the one who burned the bridge. You're just not helping her rebuild it. Nothing wrong with that. Another player called us back to the court. As I jogged over, I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. Not bitter. Not hurt. I was just done. And that felt like progress. Month 10 hit differently. I was grabbing coffee before work when I ran into Melissa, someone who worked in the same building as my wife. We'd met at a few company events back when I actually attended those things. Oh hey, she said, looking genuinely surprised to see me. How have you been? Good. You. She hesitated, that uncomfortable pause people do when they know something you might not. I'm okay. Have you, talked to her lately? The way she said it made my stomach drop, just slightly. Not in months. What? Oh, I figured you'd know then. She shifted her coffee cup between hands. She got let go about 2 weeks ago. I kept my face neutral. What happened? Big project she was leading. Something went wrong, cost the company a lot. They blamed her management. She tried to fight it, but they'd already made up their minds. The irony wasn't lost on me. The career she sacrificed our marriage for just imploded. That's rough, I said, because what else do you say? Yeah, she's been pretty quiet about it. I only know because I saw her clearing out her desk. Melissa paused. You really didn't know? Like I said, we haven't talked. She made her choices, I made mine. Fair enough. Anyway, good seeing you. I drove to work processing that information. Part of me felt bad. Nobody wants to lose their job, especially not after betting everything on it. But another part, the part that remembered her calling our marriage an obstacle, felt absolutely nothing. 2 weeks later, my phone rang. Her name on the screen for the first time in months. I almost let it go to voicemail. Almost. Yeah. Hi. Her voice sounded smaller than I remembered. I know I haven't called in a while. I was hoping we could meet up and talk. Face to face. About what? About us. About everything. Please. I could hear it in her voice. The desperation she was trying to hide. She needed something. Where? Maybe the house. Or I could come by after you're done with work. No. We'll meet at the coffee shop on 5th. Tomorrow at noon. Can't we do it somewhere more private? That's the offer. Take it or leave it. Silence. Then, okay. Tomorrow at noon. She hung up before I could. Probably didn't want to risk me changing my mind. I showed up 5 minutes late. Not to be petty, just didn't see the need to rush. She was already there, sitting at a corner table, looking more worn down than I'd ever seen her. Thanks for coming, she said as I sat down. I flagged down the waitress and ordered black coffee. Didn't ask if she wanted anything. She already had a cup in front of her anyway. So what's this about? I asked once the waitress left. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. About us, about how things ended. She wrapped both hands around her cup. I made some mistakes. Okay, that's it. Just okay. What do you want me to say? You called this meeting. She took a breath, steadying herself. Things have been difficult lately. Work has been stressful, and I've had time to really reflect on what matters. I knew she'd been fired. She didn't know I knew. I wanted to see how she'd play this. And I realized that I threw away something genuine for something that turned out to be temporary. Your career, you mean? She flinched slightly. My priorities, yes. I thought I knew what I wanted. I was wrong. You were wrong. I repeated flatly. Yes, I was wrong to push you away. Wrong to say the things I said. I want to fix this. Fix us. The waitress brought my coffee. I took a sip, letting the silence stretch. How's work going? I asked, already knowing the answer. Her face tightened. It's been challenging. Challenging how? I don't want to talk about work right now. I want to talk about us. But work was the whole reason we're here. You said the marriage was holding you back from your career. So how's that career going? She looked down at her cup. I got fired. 3 weeks ago. I heard. Her head snapped up. You knew? Ran into Melissa. She mentioned it. And you didn't think to reach out? See if I was okay. I almost laughed. You left me 10 months ago because I was in your way. Why would I check on you? Because we were married for 5 years. Because we meant something to each other. We're married. Past tense. And yeah, we did mean something. Right up until you decided I was dead weight. I never said that. You said the marriage was holding you back. Same thing. She wiped at her eyes. I didn't feel the urge to comfort her. Just watched, waited. I messed up, she said quietly. I know I did. But people make mistakes. Can't we work past this? Work past what exactly? You throwing away 5 years because you thought something better was waiting? Now that it didn't work out, you want the safety net back? That's not fair, isn't it? You had your shot at the big career. It fell apart. Now suddenly you remember the marriage you couldn't wait to escape. I was confused. Under pressure. I didn't know what I was saying. You knew exactly what you were saying. You've been thinking about it for months, remember? Your words. She reached across the table like she was going to grab my hand. I pulled back before she could. Don't, I said simply. Please, we can go to counseling. Work on communication. Whatever it takes. I finished my coffee and stood up, pulled out my wallet and dropped a 10 on the table. I've moved on, I said, looking down at her. You wanted to focus on your career. I focused on my life. We both got what we needed. You can't mean that. I absolutely mean that. You made a choice. Live with it. Her face crumbled, but I was already walking toward the door. Wait, she called out, loud enough that a few people turned to look. We can fix this. I know we can. I stopped at the door, turned back. You can't fix something you deliberately broke. Have a good life. The parking lot felt lighter somehow, like I'd been carrying something heavy and finally set it down. My phone buzzed before I even got to my car. Text from her. Please don't do this. I need you. I stared at it for a second, then typed back. You needed your career more. Remember? Blocked her number right after. Should have done it months ago. Griffin texted that evening asking if I wanted to grab drinks. I said yes. You look like you had an interesting day, he said when I walked into the bar. Met with the ex. She wants to reconcile. And I said no. He nodded approvingly. Good for you. She finally realized what she lost. More like she lost everything else first. Now she wants the backup plan. You're not anyone's backup plan, brother. Exactly. We clinked glasses. For the first time in almost a year, I felt completely free. The call started 3 days after I blocked her number. First her mom, then her dad again, then her younger brother, who I'd always gotten along with. All saying basically the same thing with different words. She's really struggling right now. Everyone deserves a second chance. You two had something special. I kept my responses polite but firm. She made her decision. I respected it. Now she needs to respect mine. Her brother was the most persistent. Called me during my lunch break at work. Look, man, I know she messed up, but she's family. Can't you at least hear her out properly? I did hear her out. At the coffee shop. She wants back in now that her plan failed. I'm not interested. That's harsh. Is it? She told me I was holding her back from success. Those aren't words you can take back. People say things they don't mean when they're stressed. She wasn't stressed. She was calculated. Thought about it for months before telling me. This wasn't a heat of the moment thing. He went quiet for a second. She didn't tell us that part. Of course she didn't. Easier to paint me as the bad guy than admit she gambled our marriage and lost. So that's it. 5 years means nothing. 5 years meant everything. To me. Apparently not to her. And I'm not sticking around to be the consolation prize. He tried a few more angles before giving up. I felt bad, honestly. He was a good kid. But this wasn't his problem to solve. The weekend brought a new development. I was leaving the gym when I saw her car parked outside my house. She was sitting in the driver's seat, just waiting. I parked in the driveway and walked past her car to my front door. Didn't acknowledge her. Didn't look over. She got out. Please, can we just talk for 5 minutes? I unlocked my door. No, I drove all the way here. That was your choice. Like leaving was your choice. Like focusing on your career was your choice. You're good at making choices. Live with them. You're being cruel. I turned to face her. I'm being honest. You want cruel? Cruel is telling your husband of 5 years that he's an obstacle to your dreams. That's cruel. Me not wanting you back? That's just common sense. I was wrong. I've said that. And I've moved on. I've said that too. How many times do we need to have this conversation? Until you forgive me. I don't need to forgive you. I need you to leave me alone. I went inside and locked the door. Watched through the window as she stood there for a minute, then got back in her car. But she didn't drive away. Just sat there. 2 hours later, she was still there. I texted Griffin. My ex is parked outside my house. Been here for 2 hours. What's the move? He called immediately. You want me to come over? I can tell her to leave. Nah, she'll get bored eventually. This is stalker behavior, man. It's desperation. Different thing. Still concerning. I know, but she'll figure it out. She has to. Griffin stayed on the phone for another 20 minutes, just talking about random stuff. Basketball league, his coworker drama, plans for next weekend. Normal stuff. It helped. When I looked out again around 9, her car was gone. Monday morning brought flowers to my office. Big arrangement. Probably cost more than she could afford given she'd been unemployed for a month now. The card read, I'm sorry. Please give me another chance. I love you. My coworkers saw them being delivered. Someone's got an admirer. Ex-wife. I corrected, dropping the card in the trash. Can't take no for an answer. Yikes. What are you going to do with those? I looked at the flowers. They were actually nice. Shame to waste them. Break room. Someone might as well enjoy them. Carry them down the hall. Set them on the counter with a note. Free flowers. Help yourself. They were gone by lunch. That afternoon, her sister called. We'd always been friendly, went to barbecues at her place, celebrated holidays together. I know you're probably tired of hearing from us, she started. Little bit, yeah. She's not doing well. I'm worried about her. That's tough, but it's not my problem to solve. You were married to her. Doesn't that count for something? It counted for 5 years. Then she decided it didn't count enough. Now I'm making the same decision. She made a mistake. A big one. But she's genuinely sorry. I believe she's sorry. Sorry it didn't work out the way she planned. Sorry she lost her job. Sorry she's alone. But is she sorry she threw away our marriage? Or is she just sorry she doesn't have a safety net? Her sister didn't have an answer for that. Look, I continued, I appreciate you trying to help. But this is between me and her. And I've made my position clear. I'm done. Can I ask you something? She said quietly. Sure. Did you ever really love her? The question caught me off guard. I loved who I thought she was. The person I married. But the woman who told me I was holding her back? I don't know that person. And I don't want to. We hung up shortly after. I felt drained. Not sad. Just tired of having the same conversation over and over. Griffin convinced me to join him and some friends at a bar that Friday. Nothing fancy, just drinks and pool. You need this, he said. Stop thinking about all that drama for one night. He was right. The place was packed, music loud enough that you had to lean in to hear conversations. Perfect distraction. One of Griffin's friends, someone I'd met at basketball a few times, came over while I was waiting for drinks. Griffin told me about your situation. That's rough. I shrugged. It is what it is. My brother went through something similar. His ex came crawling back after she realized the grass wasn't greener. He took her back. How'd that work out? They split again 6 months later. Same issues, different day. Some things you just can't fix. That's what I'm thinking. Good instinct. My brother wasted another year trying to force something that was already dead. Don't be him. The bartender handed me my drinks. As I turned back to the table, I caught my reflection in the mirror behind the bar. I looked different. Not physically, but something in my expression. Lighter somehow. Like I'd been carrying weight I didn't even realize was there, and now it was gone. Back at the table, Griffin raised his glass. To moving forward. To moving forward, I echoed. And for the first time in almost a year, I genuinely meant it. Month 11 brought something unexpected. Peace. The call stopped. The text stopped. Even the family backed off. I figured she'd finally gotten the message. I was wrong. I came home from work on a Tuesday to find her sitting on my front steps. Not in her car this time. Just sitting there like she had every right to be. We need to talk, she said before I could even get my keys out. No, we don't. I'm filing for divorce. I wanted to tell you in person. That stopped me. You're filing? Yes. Since you won't give me another chance, I'm making it official. Thought you'd want to know. I almost laughed. She was trying to take control of the narrative. make it her decision instead of acknowledging I'd already walked away. Okay, I said, unlocking the door. That's all you have to say? What else is there? You want a divorce? File for divorce. Been waiting for you to figure that out for months. You're really going to let 5 years in like this? I turned to look at her directly. You ended it 10 months ago. Over pasta. Remember? I'm just finishing the paperwork you were too proud to file yourself. I thought if I gave you space, you'd realize what we had. I did realize what we had. A wife who saw me as dead weight. Space just confirmed it. She stood up, brushing off her jeans. Fine. My lawyer will contact you. Looking forward to it. She walked to her car, stopped halfway, turned back. You know what's funny? I thought you'd fight for us. That's what people do when they love someone. People fight for relationships worth saving. Ours wasn't. You made sure of that. She drove off without another word. Griffin called that night to check in. How you holding up? She's filing for divorce. About time. How do you feel? Relieved, honestly. Like the last piece is finally falling into place. That's healthy. Most people would be emotional about it. I was emotional 10 months ago when she left. Now I'm just ready to close this chapter. The divorce process moved faster than I expected. Her lawyer sent the papers. I signed them, sent them back. No arguments about assets. No fighting over who gets what. She wanted out. I wanted closure. Simple. During this time, I ran into Claire from the gym at a coffee shop. She was waiting in line when she spotted me. Hey, gym buddy. Fancy seeing you here. Small world, I said, genuinely pleased to see a friendly face. You still keeping up with the routine? 3 times a week, like clockwork. You. Same. It's the only thing keeping me sane with work lately. We ended up sitting together, just talking. Nothing heavy. She told me about her job in accounting, the office politics, her cat who kept knocking plants off her windowsill. Normal, easy conversation. Can I ask you something? She said after a while. Sure. That first time we talked, you mentioned life changes. What changed? I considered how much to share. Got divorced. Well, getting divorced. Papers are being finalized. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be. It needed to happen. Still, that's hard. It was. For a while. But I'm good now. Better than I was, actually. She smiled. You seem like you are. That's good. We exchanged numbers before leaving. Just as friends, nothing complicated. But it felt good. Like proof I could have normal interactions again without all the baggage. The court date for the final divorce hearing came faster than expected. I showed up early, dressed decent but not fancy. This wasn't a celebration, just a formality. She arrived 10 minutes late with her lawyer. Looked tired, thinner than I remembered. She tried to catch my eye a few times, but I kept my attention on the judge. The proceeding took maybe 20 minutes. Judge asked standard questions, confirmed we both agreed to terms, signed the papers. Done. That's it, the judge said. You're officially divorced. Good luck to both of you. I stood to leave immediately. Her voice stopped me. Can we talk? Just for a minute. Her lawyer looked uncomfortable, but stepped away to give us space. What's left to say? I asked, not sitting back down. I just wanted you to know I really did love you. I made terrible decisions, but the love was genuine. Okay. That's it. Just okay. What do you want from me? Absolution. Closure? We're divorced now. We both move on. I still love you, she said, voice breaking slightly. That's unfortunate. Because I don't love you. Not anymore. Maybe I did at some point. But you killed it when you told me I was holding you back. I never stopped loving you. Then you have a funny way of showing it. Loving someone means valuing them. You didn't. You saw me as an obstacle. Now I'm just a stranger who used to know you. I started walking toward the exit. She followed, heels clicking on the marble floor. Please, just give me one more chance. I'll prove I've changed. I stopped at the door, turned to face her one last time. You want to prove you've changed? Do it for yourself. Not for me. I'm done being your measuring stick. You're really just going to walk away? After everything. You walked away first. I'm just finishing what you started. Her mother was waiting in the hallway. Gave me a sad look as I passed. I nodded politely, but kept moving. Outside, the sun was bright. Almost painfully so. I stood there for a moment, letting it sink in. It was over. Actually, genuinely over. My phone buzzed. Text from Griffin. How'd it go? Done. Officially divorced. Drinks tonight to celebrate. Yeah, I could use that. I drove home taking the long way, windows down, music playing. For the first time in almost a year, I felt completely free. No weight, no guilt, no lingering questions. That evening at the bar, Griffin's whole crew showed up. They'd heard about the finalization. To new beginnings, someone toasted. To knowing your worth, another added. I raised my glass. To moving forward. We drank, talked, laughed. Someone told a terrible joke. Griffin's friends started a debate about which basketball team would win the playoffs. Normal stuff. Good stuff. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. I'll always regret losing you. I hope you find happiness. I'm sorry for everything. I read it twice, then deleted it. Blocked the number. Griffin noticed. Her. Yep. What did she say? Doesn't matter. It's done. And it was. Really, truly done. 3 months later, I'd settled into my new normal. Gym 3 times a week. Basketball on Saturdays. Started taking a woodworking class on Thursday nights just for something different. Claire and I had gotten coffee a few more times. Nothing serious, just easy friendship. She made me laugh. Didn't ask about my past unless I brought it up. Just existed in the present. One Saturday after basketball, Griffin pulled me aside. You know what I noticed? You smile more now. Like actually smile, not that fake polite thing you used to do. Huh, didn't realize. It's good. You seem like yourself again. Better version, even. Feel like it too. Took a while to get here, but yeah, I'm good. Proud of you, man. Not everyone handles that kind of situation with dignity. Didn't really have a choice. Could have fallen apart or moved forward. Forward seemed better. He clapped me on the shoulder. That's the truth. That night, alone in my house that actually felt like mine now, I realized something. I didn't think about her anymore. Not with anger, not with sadness. Not at all, really. She'd wanted freedom to chase her dreams without me holding her back. I'd found freedom in building a life without her holding me down. We both got exactly what we needed, just not in the way either of us expected. And I was completely fine with that. 6 months post-divorce, life looked completely different. I'd gotten a promotion at work. Nothing massive, but enough to feel like progress. The woodworking class turned into a genuine hobby. Built a bookshelf, then a coffee table. Kept my hands busy, mind focused. Claire and I had started dating. Nothing rushed, just natural progression. She knew my history, didn't judge it. We took things slow. You're different from what I expected, she said one evening over dinner. How so? Most guys coming out of divorces are either bitter or desperate to jump into something serious. You're just present. Took me a while to get here. But yeah, I'm good with where things are. That's refreshing. I ran into her sister at Target a few weeks later. Awkward at first, but she approached me anyway. Hey, how've you been? Good. Really good, actually. You? I'm okay. She's moved back home with my parents. Still looking for work. That's tough. She asks about you sometimes. I grabbed the cereal I came for. I hope she finds what she's looking for. But that chapter's closed for me. Her sister nodded. I can see that. You look happy. I am. Good. You deserve that. We parted ways amicably. No hard feelings, just two people who used to know each other. That night, Claire asked what I was thinking about. Just how different things are from a year ago. Better different. Absolutely. I spent 5 years trying to be enough for someone who didn't value it. Now I'm just living for myself. Feels right. She squeezed my hand. I'm glad you figured that out. I got one final message months later. Different number, but I recognized the tone. I know you've moved on. I have too. I just wanted to say I understand now why you couldn't take me back. I didn't value what we had until it was gone. I hope you're happy. You deserve it. This is goodbye. I read it, thought for a moment, then typed back one sentence. I am happy. I hope you find yours too. Then I blocked that number as well. Griffin asked if I felt closure. Yeah, complete closure. No regrets. About leaving? None. About the 5 years before? Those were genuine. But people change. Priorities shift. She chose her path. I chose mine. We're both better off. That's mature as hell. I laughed. Took long enough to get there. A year after the divorce, I was cleaning out old boxes and found our wedding photo. Studied it for a minute. Two people who genuinely believed they'd make it work. Claire walked in. That her? Yeah. You okay? Yeah. Just remembering. We had good times. But good times don't erase bad choices. I put the photo in a folder with other old memories. Not thrown away, just filed away. Part of my history, not my present. Ready for dinner? Claire asked. Absolutely. As we left, I glanced back at the closed folder. Some doors, once closed, should stay that way. And I was perfectly fine with that.